A very good evening, welcome to Premier League Live this evening to round off your Saturday action here in LFS. We're at Elland Road as newly promoted Leeds United look to make it 2 wins from 2 at home after their thrashing against Arsenal last Saturday, and then that really horrible result away at Sheffield Wednesday in the League Cup in midweek. They want to bounce back and Elland Road will be bouncing, but they come up against a Newcastle United side who took Liverpool all the way to the 100th minute it on Monday night, and that was 10-man Newcastle. Injuries down and a red card suspension as well. A bit of a rejigged team for Eddie Howe tonight. Let's see a quick recap on what happened at 3 o'clock. It was Man United who scraped past Burnley at Old Trafford. A late penalty from Bruno Fernandes scored it this time. Made it 3-2. Sunderland finding a way past Brentford in that very tight affair there. A late goal from Wilson Isidore means Sunderland pick up 2 wins from their 2 home games this season. It is the first defeat for Thomas Frank as Spurs boss after they were beaten 1-0 against Bournemouth at home, and Everton head away to Molineux and come away with a 3-2 victory. What an afternoon. We will recap all of those results in full for you at half time, but we have to get to tonight's game, and let's have a look at the 2 teams, starting with the home side, Leeds United. After that defeat in midweek to the League Cup, only three players remain in the side. Lucas Perry comes into the goal. Jayden Bogle, Joe Rodon, Pascal Struijk as the captain, and Gudmundsson are in defence. Ilya Gruev is alongside Anton Stack, and Sean Longstaff his first start against his former club. And a front 3 of Wilfred Gnonto off the left, Dan James off the right, and Lucas Mecha comes into the side after scoring on his debut for Leeds here 2 weeks ago. He starts tonight up front. On the bench, Darlow, Justin, Beale, Bernal, Harrison, Aronson, Piroux, Calvert-Lewin and Okafor. For Newcastle United, Nick Pope starts in goal. We think they've gone for a back 3 this evening, or a back 5. Trippier at right wing back, Botman, Scher and Byrne at centre backs, and Livramento at left wing back. In midfield, Sandro Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes pin that midfield with Jacob Ramsey and Jacob Murphy, both in attacking midfield role, with William Osula starting up front with no Anthony Gordon due to suspension. On the bench for Newcastle, Ramsdale, Hall, Lascelles, Thiaw, Kraft, Alanga, Willock, Miley and Barnes. As I said, no Joe Linton and no Anthony Gordon, who is suspended. Well, these 2 sides, Newcastle, looking for their first win of the season after that terrible defeat to Liverpool on Monday night. They worked so hard to get all the way back, but they couldn't get the job done. And Leeds United looking for their second win after they won their first home game just 13 days ago. Well, let's get ready for it. The other 2 sides, Burnley lost late at Man United, and Sunderland claim victory at home. Can Leeds follow suit with Sunderland and pick up 2 wins from 2 at home this season? We'll see. Kickoff at Elland Road is next. A very good evening. Welcome to Premier League Live for our second game of the weekend. Great to have you all with us for this one this evening. It is Leeds United taking on Newcastle United this evening. And these 2 sides have a lot of storied history over the last few years and some big results between them. But tonight, it is all about the 3 points here at Elland Road. And Leeds need and probably want a bit of a response after their last 2 results in the Premier League and in the Carabao Cup. We're going to have a moment of applause here for someone who has passed. So we will have that moment of applause at this moment in time at Elland Road. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us in the chat. Welcome in Andy, another Andy, as well, just another Andy. Says even Kevin, day of upsets in the Premier League. Spurs losing to Burnley or Spurs losing to Bournemouth, and United beating Burnley. Well, United beating Burnley might not be much of an upset, but with the way the game went, it could have been a lot closer than it ended up being. We will see. We'll talk about all of those games from 3 o'clock at half time, so do stick around for that. But thank you very much, everybody, for getting involved. Kieran says, I'm sure they booed Eddie Howe at the start. Leeds be nice and give Newcastle their first win. Leeds and Sunderland have a team Newcastle effect at home. They're just 3 times better at home. Yeah, I think the home form for a lot of the newly promoted teams will be important. You know, at least you got to say all 3 newly promoted sides have a home win on the board. That is what you can say from their first games of this campaign. Burnley, of course, losing out late to Man United, and of course lost on the opening weekend as well to Tottenham. And it's sandwiched in between that home win against Sunderland. Leeds here, this will be their second home game of the season. And Newcastle, they couldn't pick up victory in their first home game of the season and have failed to score on the road when they went to Villa Park on match day 1. So a lot of work for Eddie Howe and his team to do here tonight, and Leeds will not give up anything easily. We will see what the home side have on offer tonight, because they didn't offer very much at all this time last week at the Emirates. As we get underway here at Elland Road then, and we'll see whether Leeds can push themselves up the table, or can Eddie Howe's Newcastle make a spirited response to what was a pretty horrible ending to their game at the St James's Park just 5 days ago. We will see. And it'll be interesting to see what system they play, because we think it's a back 3, but it can also be a back 4. So there is a bit of disparity there with the Newcastle starting at 11, and it was a bit of a debate whether it was a 3 or a 4. I don't think anybody really knows, and I think that's exactly what Eddie Howe wants. As Lucas Perry has the ball here from the kickoff. Newcastle put it out for a goal kick to Leeds, and this is the goal kick. Going long. Flick on in the midfield, and that comes off a Leeds player. That goes out for a Newcastle throw. If the promoted teams keep playing like this, I fear for West Ham and Brentford. I do indeed. That defeat for Brentford away at Sunderland after taking the lead as well in that game is a really tough one to take for Keith Andrews and a side who were actually on back-to-back wins, of course, if you remember that win in the Cup in midweek away at Bournemouth, and then of course that Premier League victory last weekend as well. They were looking for a real improvement, but not to come. And faltering. Here's Jayden Bogle. Dan James not able to get the ball into the box there, blocked by the near man and Jacob Murphy. And they are set up as a back 5, Newcastle, a 5-4-1 out of possession, with Asula the lone striker, and then Ramsey and Murphy dropping either side of Guimaraes and Tonali, and then of course the wing backs in Livramento and Trippier with that back 3. So it is a 5-4-1 out of possession, but I suspect it will go to more of a 3-4-2-1 or a 3-4-3 whenever they are in possession, with the wing backs pushing forward and then the wide midfielders in a sense pushing up as wingers, I suspect. Newcastle want a throw in there from that bit of defending. Share to Byrne. Now finding Livramento. Heavy touch there from Tino Livramento. Dan James puts that one out for a throw in. And you got to say it was a crazy game on Monday nights. It was tackles flying in everywhere. And it was one of those games where, back in the 90s football, if you ever see the clips of years and years ago in the 90s, of football, just barely any play. It's free kicks, set pieces, real scrappy long ball football. That's what it was at St James's Park on Monday night. It wasn't the most fluid game. It was just crazy from minute 1 to minute 100. And Liverpool having the final say against Newcastle. It seems to be a bit of deja vu for Newcastle against Liverpool. They conceded late goals quite often against Liverpool. Here comes Trippier down this right-hand side for Newcastle. Cuts it back inside. Ramsey trying to roll it through. And it evaded the foot of Sandro Tonali and goes all the way through to Lucas Perry in the Leeds goal. Now, Andy says, I think at home Sunderland and Leeds are better at home and not so good on the road. And Burnley are equally the same, home or away. Leeds and Sunderland fans at home are a 12th man. I agree with that. Here come Leeds. So Wilfred Gnonto there almost squeezing it through for Lucas Mecha. There was a bit of space there between the midfield and defence of Newcastle, and he just couldn't take it with him, Mecha. Livramento tries to link it up with Asula. Livramento gets in behind here. Ball across. And no contact from Murphy. It's still alive here. Trippier's delivery. Headed away. And the Leeds man's gone down there in Joe Rudon under the pressure from Will Asula. And that's going to be a free kick to Leeds United. Again, we see this again. Really nice play down the left channel there from Newcastle. Nice give and go. Actually, Asula doesn't actually get a touch on the ball. Livramento plays it through, hoping for the give and go. But the ball just continues rolling through. Osula's holding up the Leeds defender. It comes through. Livramento breaks up the left side. He gets the ball into the box. Tries to get it across. And then it falls out the other side. It goes all the way through. Trippier picks it back up on the right side. He lifts it in. And then the header attempt from Will Osula. He catches Joe Rodon. And that gets Leeds a free kick. But it's a good move from the wide areas from Newcastle. Albeit initially a give-and-go attempt. Turned out to be passed it to himself there, Tino Livramento, in the end. I can guarantee you that's not what he meant, but that is, on that occasion, what happened. Long ball there from Newcastle. We have some big transfer news to tell you. We can get this to you. Sky Sports are reporting, I'll get it here in a second, but I can tell you that Sky Sports are reporting that Liverpool have made a bid for Crystal Palace's Mark Guehi. Now, of course, it was Oliver Glasner who said after Crystal Palace's game in Europe on Thursday night, ahead of his their Premier League game tomorrow evening against Villa, in his pre-match press conference on Friday, he said about how Mark Guehi would be at the club come the end of the transfer window on Monday. Well, Liverpool have apparently submitted a bid according to reports, and we'll get more on that a little later on. As Leeds come down the left-hand side, ball in the box. Mecha was in the mix there, and it was cleared away by Newcastle. That's pressure from Leeds. Good Munson rolls it all the way through. And everybody watching the ball as it rolls through, and Newcastle can defend it. My goodness. There's an energetic start here at Elland Road. Two sides playing good football, and here come Newcastle. Ramsey tried to force it through the lines there. Not quite finding its target, and Leeds playing good football. Dan James now, laid off by Mecha. Back inside it comes. Here's a chance. Good shot blocked there from Anton Stack. His effort as Bogle picks it up for Longstaff. Nice stack. Down that right hand side comes Bogle. Very open game in the first 6-7 minutes here at Elland Road. And the crowd inside this stadium are up and making their voices heard early in this game. Here's Dan James. Feels he was brought down. The referee took a second and has given the free kick to Leeds United. Against Tino Livramento, who was pretty much incensed by that decision, but to me it looked like he did come through the back of Dan James to try and get to the ball. Yeah, that is a foul to me. Free kick to Leeds United. Well, that is some big breaking news that comes through to us this evening. Of course, Liverpool host Arsenal tomorrow. We can also tell you, I think Cody Gakpo has signed a new deal. So it's all happening for Liverpool. Cody Gakpo signed a new long-term deal as part of Liverpool's plans for the future. So Gakpo staying put for Liverpool, and they might get a new centre-back in, a Mark Guehi. Reports coming through that bid has been given to Palace. Free kick to Leeds, going direct, and it's a nice idea from Anton Stack, but it wasn't a good execution. See it here. Just tries to sneak it round the bottom right corner towards Nick Pope's goal, but he doesn't quite get enough bend on it, and it goes bundling behind. Well, there's the new Magpie, new Newcastle United player, Nick Voltemade, signed for £69 million from Stuttgart just earlier this afternoon. He's in the Elland Road stands watching on his new team here this evening. Livramento. Tonali. And flick it over the top. Osula's made the runner behind, but that was just a slight bit ahead of Osula. And it was well caught by Lucas Perry in the Leeds goal again. Long kick by Perry. Committed header there by Trippier, and again the ball comes all the way through to the Leeds goalie. So I can tell you the report is that Liverpool have submitted an official bid to sign Mark Guehi from Crystal Palace, a proposal worth £35 million with no add-ons, and the 25-year-old is open to a move. So we'll see what comes if Palace accept that bid. Here come Leeds. Jesus. and they couldn't quite squeeze it through again. Newcastle having to do more defending. Here comes Guimaraes. It's end-to-end at the moment. Neither side are giving each other a time to breathe when they get rid of the ball. Livramento well pressured there by Jayden Bogle. And all the way back it comes to Fabian Schär. A nice Sven Botman. Through the lines it goes. Murphy. Taken down there. No foul, says the referee. There's one back by Longstaff. Back to Rodon, and now out wide to Jayden Bogle. A very energetic first 10 minutes of this game here at Elland Road this evening. Leeds United wanting a response from their recent fixtures. Newcastle United also looking for their first win of the season. A draw and a defeat from their first 2 Premier League games. Leeds haven't scored an open play goal here at Elland Road as of yet. They scored just the 1 goal against Everton via penalty on the opening Monday night of the season. That was a poor header by Botman. He's given it away to Wilfred Gnonto, but good covering there from Schär. Steps across and make sure Wilfred Gnonto was going nowhere past the Newcastle defence. And he says, wonder what will happen to Isak. Well, I think we will hear a bit more about that across the weekend. If Liverpool have submitted a bid for Guehi, I think a bid for Isak won't be too far behind from what I've heard. And Liverpool, they're busy on the field and off the field this weekend. Well, there's an issue here with just stop the game. Communication issues with one of the assistants. So the 2 captains informed of the situation, Pascal Stroik and Bruno Guimaraes. And one of the assistants has to get a change of a battery pack, it seems. Do they not put these things on chargers before they bring them out? Or change the batteries in them before they do these? You see it every now and again in a season. You'd think by this rate they'd get used to it. Well, there's a man who'll be hoping to make his appearance tonight. He'd make a better appearance than he did on Wednesday night when he missed a couple of sitters for Leeds. Dominic Calvert-Lewin in that cup tie against Sheffield Wednesday. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, certainly when he stayed fit, was a prolific striker in the Premier League. Never really got to the heights of probably what he could have been or what he could still be. Injuries really did torment him at Everton. And I'd be hoping that he is going to be as available as possible at Elland Road for Leeds United. Well, we keep an eye on our referee Peter Banks to make sure that all the communication is up and working once again. Our referee, as I said, Peter Banks. A VAR, Jared Gillett, and assistant VAR, Tim Robinson. The on-field assistants today are Eddie Smart and Blake Antrobus. So it's one of those 2 assistants that has these communication issues, which has the game stopped. And there he comes to a cheer from the Elland Road crowd as his battery pack has changed and they're all good to go. A sarcastic cheer from the home crowd there as Leeds have a throw-in down this right. Long ball from Perry. Mecha again trying to cause a problem to Dan Burn and fouling Dan Burn there and trying to tussle for the ball. Not waiting around Newcastle. Murphy trying to dribble his way out of trouble. Does well to find Tonali. Back to Murphy. Trying to squeeze the space in the middle. Leeds. Newcastle have to reverse the ball. Schär. Nice one round the corner from Ramsey, but nowhere for Trippier to go against Goodmunson. It's going to be a throw-in. Welcome in, Rudy. Thank you very much for joining us. Andy says, you kind of do need him covered. Yes, but do you really think... Hold on, here comes Leeds. Mecha, flick ball in behind, too much, too far ahead of Dan James there from Anton Stack. It was a nice idea, Once again, just a little overhit. Again, it was good work there. It's Dan Byrne here. He plays it inside to Guimaraes under pressure. Sean Longstaff does well, wins the ball. And Metja holds it up, lays it to Anton Stack, and the runner on the outside, Dan James, flicked over the top by Anton Stack, but just too much to try and stay with the runner. And it goes behind for a goal kick. But some nice football from Leeds United at times. Yeah, well, I think Mark Gurhey, if he does go to Liverpool, I do think he will be battling for a place in the starting 11. Whether he will get that will be another thing, but if he's open to the move, clearly he's open to being involved in a battle for a centre-back position. Here comes Jacob Ramsey for Newcastle. Fires the ball across low. Here's a chance, Osula! Oh, and it's blocked and cleared away by Gudmundsson. As it's back down the left side, and Bogle will be chasing that one. I think that might be a corner, I believe, but see this again. It's good work down the left. It's Livramento spins away from his man and Bogle, then breaking in behind is Ramsey. Ramsey gets in behind Gruyev on the cover, and he fires it into the 18-yard box, right across onto the foot of Will Osula, who has a shot, takes a bit of a dangly effort, has a go with his left, it crashes into the floor. It's blocked by Gudmundsson, and then he clears it away. That was close, but the Leeds defender, the Leeds left back, Gabriel Gudmundsson, was needed there. Corner for Newcastle, lifted to the back post, but easily gathered by Lucas Perry in the Leeds goal, and he's trying to send Willie Nunto on a charge down that left channel. And Livramento should have the better of him, and does. Deals with that situation. And one thing about these two sides, they do have pace in their teams. No doubt about that. Yeah, Liverpool have spent a lot of money. But they have brought in a lot of money as well. The net spend is still only around 100 odd million. Which, for much they've spent this season, to have a net spend of around 100 odd million is quite remarkable for the many players they've brought in and for the money that has been spent in incomings for Liverpool this summer, and they still want to move with more before the end of the window. Gurhey and Isak, I'm sure, the top targets on that list. Nice little reverse flick there by Dan James, couldn't quite reach Metja. Oh, loose from Newcastle though, and Longstaff scrambling to keep it in play for Leeds, does well, and Rodon heads back to the goalkeeper. Perry has a bouncing ball there. Guimaraes, well shielded. He gets the ball off to Murphy, and it's a real scramble in the mix there in the middle. And it's Stack there that puts his leg in. And it's a Newcastle midfielder in Tonali that goes down, and a foul is given against Anton Stack there. To his disbelief. Very scrappy midfield moment there, and yeah, I think it is just a foul. Tonali gets there first. Free kick to Newcastle. 18 minutes gone. It's been electric to start the game. Both sides having a go early on. Long thump ball forward, flicked on by a Leeds player, and it's kept in play by Lucas Perry, who does well to track that ball and get a good grab on it. Plays it out to Gudmundsson. Strike. Back to Perry. Leeds are going to go long this time with Perry. Up the field. Header won by Botman. And then a tackle in the centre as the referee will play advantage. There was a foul, but he's going to play advantage, referee. Dan James chops inside on his left, lifting it towards the box. That's a good diving header by Sven Botman in there to get that away for Newcastle. And the ball's put out of play there by Gruyev as it goes down the left channel. Well, was it Ramsey that played that committed the foul? I think it's a Newcastle player that's down. It is Jacob Ramsey that's down. But we see this again. He's tackling through the back of the Leeds man. I think it's Sean Longstaff that he tackles. But as he comes through the back of him, he kind of rolls over him. And he hurts himself there, Jacob Ramsey. In that process, we see it here, yeah. Oh, it's the way he puts his legs in between the legs of Sean Longstaff, and as Longstaff falls, he falls onto the leg of Jacob Ramsey. And Ramsey is sitting up and should be okay, but it is a painful one. Of course, another one of the new options for Eddie Howe. Jacob Ramsey joined for just under £40 million from Aston Villa just less than 2 weeks ago. The 24-year-old. And he came on against Liverpool on Monday night. Won after 76 minutes for Joe Linton's injury that saw him have to go off. And that was just before, not long before, they equalised Newcastle in that game. And of course before they went on to lose. And he's without a goal. Jacob Ramsey in the Premier League for quite a while. He hasn't scored in the Premier League for a good while, I must say. He scored just one Premier League goal last season. Needs to have this throw in. 21 minutes gone. Ramsey's off to the sideline, but he should re-enter the fray very shortly. Newcastle down to 10 for the moment. Bogle, flick ball over the top. Dan James in behind. Again, just a little bit too narrow. That from Bogle, allowing the keeper to get back on it. And oncoming is Jacob Ramsey once again. Ball well held up by Asula. Guimaraes. Nice Trivela pass through the lines there, and Asula was the target. Just a slight bit ahead of him. Being very direct, both teams at times. Trying to just bypass the midfield. That's a nice bit of work there from Metja to cause a little bit of concern, but not a great ball by Dan James. Gives it right back to Newcastle through Trippier. Guimaraes. Finding Trippier between the lines, and he rolls it out wide for the runner in Jacob Murphy. Can he keep it in play? He can, just about. He's up against Goodmunson. Gets the block on it. Goes behind for a corner. United cheated their way to win. Well, they got that late penalty. Bruno Fernandes taking it and scoring it this week to rescue Man United all 3 points. It would have been a real torrid outcome if they hadn't have beaten Burnley, but we will recap all of the 4 3 o'clock games at half time, so don't go anywhere if you want to have a little chat about the 3 o'clockers. So corner to Newcastle here on this right hand side. It's their second corner of the game. They've gone short. Trippier with a early delivery, and it's headed away by Struijk, and now Leeds want to spring a counter. Nonto trying to burst forward. Newcastle trying to get bodies back. And Gruyev does really well. Nice 1-2. Nonto continues his run down the right-hand side. Feeds it into the box, and it was Metja that was trying to throw himself at it. It was a nice idea. Good opportunity from Leeds. He got any touch to that. Lucas Metja, it was a goal. It was a lovely little combination down that right-hand side between Nonto and Gruyev. Really smart play. And then Nonto, you think he's going to try and lift it, but he tries to curl it round the corner, gets it around Livramento, and if Metja gets anything to that, it is causing a lot of concern to Nick Pope. But it goes right through to the Newcastle keeper who gathers. But you gotta say, Leeds have looked a threat going forward so far. Despite neither side having a shot on target, both have been in and around the final third on a few occasions. 23.5 minutes gone, still goalless here at Elland Road. Ball back here with Fabian Schär. Looking for the long diagonal Schär, but didn't quite find a target, and brought down by Jayden Bogle. Longstaff going long down the right side. It's well covered by Byrne against James. And now here come Newcastle. Livramento inside to Guimaraes. Schär, and the ball over in the corner by Trippier. Murphy Into the box it comes. Bogle with a header clear, not fully cleared. It's Tonali. Edge of the box. Can he squeeze enough effort in? He plays it to Guimaraes, and now around the corner for Murphy. And a cross goal it comes. And Bogle has to clear it away at the back post. That was better from Newcastle. Really good combination football. Here they come again. No let up for Leeds here. Livramento. Tonali. Back inside to Botman. A nice share. Trying to push up the field now, Newcastle. Squeeze Leeds into their own defensive third. As they try and work that between the lines, they almost mess it up there, Newcastle, and Murphy has to recycle it back to Share. Tonali. He's really trying to squeeze the pitch. Really trying to make it narrow. And suffocate that midfield. So Sula comes deep. Links it up with Tonali. Now out wide to Livramento. Really positive from both sides so far. Here comes Livramento bursting down the left hand side. Gets to the byline. Tracked all the way by Bogle. And the last touch off the Newcastle player in Tino Livramento. And that's a goal kick to Leeds. That's great backtracking from Jayden Bogle. Great full-back defending. You think he's beaten in the first one. And he stays and stays and stays with Livramento. And the ball goes out before Bogle touches it, from what I could see there, and that's a goal kick. It's really strong defending by Bogle. Here come Leeds. Nice takedown there from James. Dan James rolls it through. Lucas Metz is in behind. He's gone down. Nothing, says the referee. Fair challenge. Ramsey comes away with it now for Newcastle. Let's end to end this game. Crazy. Here comes Murphy. Getting past his marker in Rodon. Murphy again goes to the early cross. All the way through. And out the other ends. As Trippier receives it. And he's got it snuffled on by Gudmundsson, who knocks it out for a throw. See this again. Good takedown by Mecha. Fabulous acrobatics. Finding Jan James. And then he pokes it through. Right up the middle. And as Mecha tries to take it under his control, it was a contact with Sven Botman. Yeah, it's far too easy to go down there. It's definitely not a penalty. Never in a million years. Throw in for Newcastle, right hand side. I haven't even had a chance to tell you about any stats or any information or context about these games. It's constant attacking. Throw in taken. Trippier whips it into the box. Headed away. Ramsey trying to have a go from the edge. Blocked. Guimaraes keeps it alive. Flicks it in. Byrne was trying to attempt it. But it's all going to be stopped, as there was a Leeds player down, and Joe Rodon, who was fouled. Andy says, as a Villa fan, Ramsey never got a good start because he keeps getting injured just as he breaks into the first team. Yeah, Jacob Ramsey, many's a time, had some great games for Villa over the last few years. He was a fabulous player for them. And you gotta say, just never really had that consistency. Obviously, as you say, injuries really hampered him, and if he did get a run of form, he was incredible. And I think that's what Newcastle have seen. If they can work out the fitness issues, they could have a real star on their hands. Newcastle with Jacob Ramsey. Ramsey. Guimaraes. Oh, caught in possession there, the Newcastle captain. Nice little step across from Mecha. Goes out wide to Nonto and does well to keep it in play there. Wilfred Nonto. It was a terrible ball by Mecha, but Nonto did well to get it back to his fullback in Gudmundsson. And Leeds recycle the ball here with Rodon. Now Bogle. James. A little bit of a loose touch there from Stack. And it's going to be a foul against Anton Stack for just holding the Newcastle player. Well, Leeds have won just one of their... Leeds have lost just one of the last 6 Premier League games against Newcastle. They've won 2 and drawn 3. That's a 1-0 defeat at home in January of 2022. That's their only defeat to Newcastle in the last 6 Premier League meetings. But contrary to that, Newcastle have won 50% of their Premier League away games against Leeds, 7 out of 14. That's their highest win rate against any side they faced more than 10 times on the road. Bogle. Trundling down the right-hand side. Does well to skip inside to Mecha. And now Longstaff. Back the way to Rodon and across the strike. Gruev. Need a bit of cut in this game, Leeds. They are playing well. They look energetic. They look up for this. Their passing has been good up until the final third, where it's just got a little bit away from them at times, but good signs, good foundations in these early moments. They are testing Newcastle. I haven't really tested Nick Pope on any really great occasion so far. Rodon. Bogle. On the right flank. Bouncing ball will just bundle its way out for a throw-in. Kept us guessing there, the ball. Banged off the corner flag and popped out for a throw. Well done, a goal kick. Trippier. Down the channel. Sula winning a tussle against Rodon, but again Leeds have bodies back to recover the ball. Perry with a long effort. Header won by Meches. Physical ability so far, Lucas Meches, causing problems here for Newcastle. And Bogle on a mazy run here. The fullback, he's in the centre midfield position. And he does well. But Newcastle smother him in the end, and he's got nowhere to go but down to the ground. And Newcastle have the ball back. But a little mazy run there from Jayden Bogle. Caused Newcastle a little bit of concern until they did get bodies around it and smothered it. But trying things, Leeds United. It's good to see that. I think what we've seen a lot so far this season in the Premier League, and not just certain games or certain teams, all the teams are not similar, sticking to one pattern of play or one thing they do all the time. They're mixing it up. We're seeing difference in the way teams are playing, and that's what we need in football. We can't have the same thing every week and the same way of playing and the same you have to have an identity, but you also have to have a bit of flexibility in the way you play. And again, this is probably just something Jayden Bogle has decided to do because he sees the space inside, and he goes on this mazy run right the way through the Newcastle defence. And as he arrives into the final third, they do have the enough bodies to stifle him there, Jayden Bogle. But it's a nice attempt, and something Leeds might keep an eye on. Maybe want to revisit a little later in the game. 32 minutes gone, still goalless. Still, funnily enough, waiting for our first shot on target of this game. But the energy is what has kept this game on its toe, and kept us on our toes, kept this game at a high tempo. It's been really good to see. That's really nice play down that left channel from Leeds, keeping it. Playing those nice little triangle combinations. A strike feeds it down the left channel. Look at the space in behind here for Nonto, and he's broke in. He's just going to cut back inside the man. Rolls it off to Mecha, who just put it behind Sean Longstaff. Longstaff battling for it back. Gets a glimpse. Lays it off to Anton Stack, who shoots. And he shoots it wide of goal. Again, good play from Leeds. It was poor from Newcastle, really. The ball over the top from Stroik. I mean, Nonto steps in behind. It's Botman that's playing him on. He steps in behind. No one tracking him there from Newcastle. He steps back across, plays it across to Mecha, who breaks away from his defender. He should probably maybe turn it goal, but he tries to cut it back for Longstaff. It gets a bit bobbly. Then Leeds do win it back, and it comes to the way of Anton Stack, who whacks a shot, but just goes wide of the left post. Still goalless. Again, pressing from Leeds high, winning the ball back, and here's Willie Nonto. Squeezing it through, finding Stack. Longstaff, now Bogle. Back to Sean Longstaff. Bogle with a nice reverse ball, and Botman bundling over the Leeds attacker. It's still alive here with Mecha. And now ball fists across all the way through. And there was two in Leeds colours at the back post, Dan James and Jayden Bogle. And neither of them could fire it across goal. Goes behind for a goal kick. What an effort that was. See it again here. It all comes from Jayden Bogle stepping inside. It causes a little bit of concern in Newcastle defending, with they're all standing watching him. Metja's allowed to lay it off out to the left-hand side. It's a good ball by Gudmundsson. Fires it across the 6-yard box really nicely. And it's Dan James of the back post that gets connection to it. Bogle's there too. And he just doesn't catch it right to get it back across goal, Dan James. What a threatening ball. What an opportunity. And they couldn't make the most of it there, Leeds. But again, promising for the home side. Well, one back by Dan James. Newcastle struggling in the physical battle at the minute against Leeds United. They're up. They've got their tails up at the minute. Do the home side at this minute in time. They're wanting to try and push for that opener. Well, this is what we saw against Everton, if you remember, in the game here at Elland Road in opening night. What we saw was all Leeds attacking, all Leeds possession, all the Leeds kind of dominance in the game in the final third and creating opportunities, but not really testing the goalkeeper on many occasions against Everton. They ended up getting the win through a penalty, but they can't keep creating chances without testing the keeper. That's a lovely ball in behind. Nick Pope's come for it, and he's come and slipped on the sideline there. Certainly not confident from Nick Pope. I mean, my goodness, Bambi on ice. And that's being kind to Nick Pope there. I gotta say, well, Nick Pope's going to get a yellow card here, I think, for possibly delaying the restart. It's the only thing I can think of. He's got a yellow card. We'll see this again. It's ball down the line. Stayed in play. I mean, yeah, he does. He kicks the ball away. He kicks the ball away as it goes out for a throw. And delaying the restart. Yellow card for Nick Pope, the Newcastle keeper. Well, it now means he can't do any bit of time wasting, Nick Pope, as he's already on a yellow card. Header brought down by Longstaff. Nicely linked up with Gruyev. Flicked over the top by Longstaff. Metja trying to combine. Picked up by Gruyev. First to react to everything at the minute, Leeds. Nonto. Now Metja. This is good football by the home side. Need to take advantage of this while they're on top. While they've got the momentum in their favour. Gruyev. Stroik. Rodon. Now Bogle. Has to go back to Stroik. And Rodon goes back all the way to Lucas Perry, who will send it flying long again towards Lucas Metja, who was bundled over there by Sven Botman, and that's going to be a free kick to Leeds United. He's looked a little bit awkward so far, Sven Botman. Come in to the side tonight, and he's been asked some really tricky questions by the Leeds centre forward Lucas Metja, who's caused them all sorts of issues. Doesn't know whether to go to him or stay away from him. Caught between two minds at the minute. Van Botman on that occasion, he was just too overzealous to try and challenge him for the ball. Here's Willie Nonto off the left side. Down the line it goes to Stack. Gudmundsson. Down the line again to Willie Nonto. Again left free. Chops onto his left, onto his right foot. Has a go. Deflected. Behind for the corner. He is looking a tricky customer down that side. Again, I mean, it's clear as day what's going to happen. Nonto lays it off and then he breaks away from his defender. Ball comes back to him. Does really nicely to chop onto his right foot. Has a go. It deflects, goes behind for the corner. But really positive again from Leeds. They need to find an advantage here. This is their first corner of the game. Right-footed delivery into the box. The header is directed away from goal by one of the Newcastle players, I believe. Dan James now picks it up on the far right. He's got Tonali. He goes for the early cross. It's too deep. Oh, it's an awkward touch at the back post there from Murphy. It's allowed Leeds back in. Nonto now. Edge of the box. Skips away from one challenge. Has a go. Blocked by his own player, it looks like there. And now Newcastle want to come away. But Nonto is still tracking the man. And they were not letting Newcastle go on the counter there. It's going to be a free kick. And Nonto, I think, is going to get a yellow card here. Well, Asula is the one that was fouled. And it is a yellow card for Nonto. It's definitely a foul. It's definitely a foul. And Wilfred Nonto in the book. And he's looked lively. Very lively. As the Leeds winger. Still only 21, Nonto. 5'7". He's not got height on his side, but he's certainly got that low centre of gravity that makes him such a tricky player to play against. And he's got that pace that can kill you at any given moment. His last goal from Leeds United came on the final day of last season. He actually got a goal and an assist on the final day to secure the championship title for Leeds away at Plymouth. Scored 3 goals in his last 3 championship games for Leeds United at the end of last season, did Wilfred Nonto. Overall across last season, scored 9 championship goals and 6 assists in 43 appearances in the competition. Murphy out to the right hand side here. Newcastle want to have something positive in an attacking sense to take out of this first half. Lovely switch ball by Guimaraes, taken down by Livramento. Tonali. Leeds squeezing the box. It's crowding it out with players. Everybody but the centre forward in and around that final third of Leeds. They're pushing Newcastle backwards. Nice ball by Scher. Nice turn by Guimaraes, and the ball round the back. And Murphy has sent it absolutely flying behind. Goal kick. It was good play there. Again, they're getting the balls towards the box, and time again they're overhitting them. They're not really connecting with them well enough. They're getting up there. They've just got nobody to find it up there at this minute in time to Newcastle. So far, possessions around 50-50, but Leeds have had more shots, 7 to Newcastle's 3, but none of them, neither team has had a shot on target yet at this stage. Although if we look at the XG of the game, it is Leeds that have a 0.47 XG to Newcastle 0.26. So Leeds creating some chances despite not having a shot on target as of yet. That's what Daniel Farker seems a little bit worried about. The fact that his team have been the better side and have had the better opportunities. Just haven't had a shot on goal yet. That's where the worry will come. Because that's when you can get caught out. Especially in the Premier League, when you don't take your chances, there's always a sucker punch emerging. And here comes Tino Livramento for Newcastle. 3 minutes of the first half to go. Still goalless. Guimaraes. Tonali. Through the lines, finding Livramento, who's come inside. Back to Byrne. And now Tonali. Again, a bit slow, Newcastle. Really laboured. Played it out wide to Livramento. Not much movement or space to find anybody. Tonali switching it out to the far right side. Trippier cuts it inside, finding Murphy. Murphy with an effort, forcing a good save out of Lucas Perry. And that is the first shot on target of the game. And it comes the way of the visitors. Great switch ball by Tonali. Brought inside by Trippier, laid off. Good first touch by Jacob Murphy. And then it's a good strike right at Lucas Perry. But the power of it deflects off the defender. And forces the goalkeeper into making a good save. Corner to Newcastle. Delivered into the box. Away at the near post by Mecha. Calls a handball there against the Newcastle player. I think it was Livramento that brought it down. Ramsey. Now Guimaraes. Works it in behind for Fabian Scher, who can hit one. And he's got one. Oh, it's under the roof of the net. But it took a deflection. Will be another corner. All of a sudden, Newcastle are right back in the mix here. Yeah, good step in by Scher, and then it flicks up. It does come off a Leeds player, it looks like. Trying to see who it was. It comes off the foot of Bogle, and it loops over and onto the roof of the net for a corner. Leeds, despite having the better of the chances, or the shots, it's been Newcastle have responded well in the last few minutes. Corner delivered in. Away again at the near post by Mecha. Brought down again on the edge of the box. Wide it goes. Tonali. Blocked again by Mecha, who uses his feet this time to put it out for the throw. He has been everywhere in this first half for Leeds United's Lucas Mecha. Really, really good. And you can clearly see why he's been given the nod to start this game tonight for Leeds. After not starting their first 2 Premier League games. Joel Piroux started both. He's on the bench tonight. Tonali down the right hand side. Trippier, Guimaraes, back to Trippier. Tonali. And we'll see how long will be added on the end of this first half. We'll have a couple of minutes due to the communications issue that the officials had a bit earlier. Here's Ramsey. Now out wide to Livramento. Looking for a way into the box. Can't quite find it at the moment. Tonali. Feeds it across. Comes for Cher here. He's going to have a go. And that one's going to send it flying over the crossbar. Goal kick. Well, 4 additional minutes at the end of this first half. Here at Elland Road. Anyhow, frantically writing in the notebook. With his little Bic pen. Wonder what he's writing down. Someone find a striker. Someone get it to my centre forward, please. They've played well in moments, Newcastle, but again, as I said, they failed to pinpoint it up front. Perry, long kick for Leeds. Header won by Trippier. Bouncing ball a little awkward. It's a bit of head tennis as it's brought down by Leeds. Flicked over the top. Mecha scrambling to hold on to it. Does well. It's Gruyev trying to switch it. And Bogle's on the chase for this ball to keep it in play. And that he does, just about, for Leeds United. It has them under a bit of pressure as Perry will go long to try and find Mecha. Mecha again on the end of it. Awkward a bit from Stack. Passing's been a little bit awkward in the last few minutes. Getting it back down on the ground now, Leeds. Gruyev. Gudmundsson back to Struijk. I think the crowd have been thoroughly entertained so far in this game. Not many real goal-mouth chances, although here come Leeds bringing the ball with Stack. Bursting forward, Stack lays it out wide to Dan James. Body's in the box. Dan James now trying to dribble his way around, lifts it to the back post. Too high for Nonto, and he will keep it in play. Reverse back to Gudmundsson. Now Nonto. And Leeds snatch something before half-time. Nonto. He will loft it in, but it's lofted nowhere near anyone in that box. Goal kick. We have some more breaking transfer news to bring you, and I'll make the most of this one. I'll put it up on the screen for you. There's the breaking news that Alejandro Garnacho, we saw him at Stamford Bridge earlier this afternoon in Chelsea's game over against Fulham. He is there, and he has just been announced as a new Chelsea player. He joined from Man United for around £40 million. That is all announced. So there you go. Alejandro Garnacho is a Chelsea player. What he's ever wanted. Right, break down the right-hand side here for Newcastle. Last minute of the half. Cleared away by Struijk with that crossfield ball. It comes. Mecha doing wonders here for Leeds. Dan James brought to the ground by Cher. That's going to be a free kick. Taking it quickly. The referee says, you can. Here comes Nonto. Seconds remain of this first half. Is there a goal coming? Or will we be all square come the break? Joe Rodon. Gruyev. I think they're just going to try and hold this to half-time now, Leeds, it seems. No real hurry to progress the ball forward. Passing it round the back. Rodon. Bogle. Flicks it in behind. Here's Mecha. Holds it up well. Still got it. Mecha. As it's nipped away from him. And there's going to be the half-time whistle for this game. And after 49 minutes of action, it has been Leeds that have looked bright, that have looked shining, but they haven't really tested the Newcastle keeper. On the other hand, Newcastle have tested the Leeds keeper. Lucas Perry with one real save to make from Jacob Murphy's effort. But so far, it has not been too much in front of goal. But it has been a very intriguing game with both sides with a lot of quality. But no goals as of yet. Half-time, it's Leeds 0, Newcastle 0. We'll analyse this game and a lot more when we come back at half-time. Do stay with us. Sure, one last kick. This is going to be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half time, it is Leeds United 0, Newcastle United 0 here at Elland Road. A game of few goal-mouth chances, but a lot of intriguing football from both teams, but yet to find the opener here at Elland Road. But let's have a look back at the afternoon's action already. We'll quickly start this then. And we'll start at Old Trafford. There's nowhere else but to start at Old Trafford. This was the outcome of the game there. They won 3-2, Manchester United. They took the lead early in the first half. Josh Cullen putting into his own net meant it was an opener for United. Their first home goal of the season there. And Josh Cullen getting that opener. It was 1-0 at half-time. No sooner was it into the second half before it was an equaliser for Burnley. Lyle Foster equalising. But you won't believe it. Within a minute or so, United were back in front. Brandon Bomo straight from the kickoff to Man United. They kick it up the field and they find it through to Brandon Bomo, who makes it 2-1 within minutes of levelling the game, did Burnley. They were back level a little later on. They thought they'd equalise not long after that. That was disallowed. Then they did equalise Burnley for 2-2 when Jadon Anthony scored on the 66th minute to make it 2-2. It looked like it was ebbing and flowing to the end. Man United, as you can see there, with all the chances, all the opportunities, and you thought it was just going to peter out for a draw. But no, a penalty given in the 92nd minute from a foul on Amad Diallo meant it was a penalty to Manchester United in the dying embers to win the game. Step up Bruno Fernandes, the captain, who missed a penalty at Craven Cottage last Sunday. He steps up and finds the net to make sure it's all 3 points for Manchester United for the first time this season. And they move up the table. And they have had every result possible in the first 3 games. 1 win, 1 draw, and 1 defeat means it's 4 points from 9 for Man United. 3 points from 9 for Burnley after picking up a win last weekend. They do not keep that business going, and it is a defeat for the second time this season for Burnley. But I gotta say, they gave it a real good go at Scott Parker's side. But if you look at the possession, Man United dominated that. The shots as well, 26-6. The shots on target were double. So Man United need to do better in that shots on target area. They had a lot of shots, but compare that to their own target shots, it's less than 20% in terms of their shots on target. But their XG, look at their XG, 3.54 to Burnley's 1.20. So it should have been a Man United win based on the statistics. To another crazy late bit of drama at the Stadium of Lights, and it meant it was 2 wins out of 2 for Sunderland at home this season. But it didn't look like that way. After 77 minutes, Igor Thiago opened the scoring for Keith Andrews' Brentford. Brentford also missed a penalty through Kevin Shada earlier in the game, so Brentford had more than enough opportunity to do well in the game. But it was Sunderland that would have the final say. Enzo Lefebvre from the penalty spot levelled things, and in the 96th minute, Wilson Isidore with the goal to make it 2 wins out of 2 at home for Sunderland. 6 points out of 9 for Sunderland. What a start to their return to the Premier League season. That defeat to Burnley last week might be damaging, but 2 home wins on the bounce. That is a positive start for Regis Labrisse's side heading into the international break. But in terms of their shots, they had more shots, Sunderland, but only 3 shots on target, and their 2 goals coming out of those 3 shots on target. Brentford with 4 shots on target, but the XG slightly in Sunderland's favour. To the game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it's a first defeat for Thomas Frank as Tottenham's boss, and a goalless performance from Spurs on their home turf after they performed so well in their first game against Burnley and that trip to Manchester City. It is a bit of a letting go of the balloon, in a sense, in that one. They've all come right back down to earth, and what a performance from Bournemouth. Look at those stats. It is red galore for Bournemouth in that game. They won by a 0-0, a goal coming in the 5th minute of the game. Similar to last week, by the way. Bournemouth scored in the 4th minute of that game last week in their 1-0 win over Wolves, and they ended up winning by a single goal early in the game. So Bournemouth once again coming up trumps early and picking up 3 points away at Spurs. And the first team to score against Tottenham this season, and they got a clean sheet away at Tottenham as well. But Tottenham dominated possession, but they actually, that inflates it a little bit, the shots. It was 1 shot to 15 heading into the final 15-10 minutes of the game. Spurs were nowhere near it all afternoon. It was all Bournemouth right from minute 1 to the finish, and they probably could have added even further to their goal lead, Bournemouth, but it was just the one to secure all 3 points and a clean sheet on the road. And it was a dramatic game at Molineux. It is defeat again for Wolves after their win in the Cup at home in midweek. It was defeat at home in the league at the weekend, and it's Everton who came to town, and after it's back-to-back victories for Everton after opening weekend defeat to Leeds away from home. It's back-to-back wins for David Moyes' team. They took the lead early in the game, Beto opening the scoring. Wolves were then level through Hee-Chan Hwang to make it 1-1. Not long after that, though, Iliman Ndiaye put Everton back in front. And then into the second half, Kieran Dewsbury Hall made it even more comfortable for Everton when it went to 3-1. But it was Rodrigo Gomez with a goal in the 79th minute that made it a little less comfortable for Everton, and that made it 2-3. Wolves couldn't muster up an equaliser, and that meant it was Everton who come away with all 3 points. Possession in Wolves' favour, shots in Wolves' favour, shots on target pretty even, but it was the XG, the chances that Everton created with their football, that ended up getting them the win and the 3 goals on the day for David Moyes' side. So, that is the way we look after our 3 o'clockers today, and after Chelsea's 2-0 victory over Fulham earlier this afternoon. It means it is 3 home wins and 2 away wins, yet to find a draw this Premier League weekend so far. We will see. Half-time here at Elland Road, and it is setting up to be a goalless draw at this minute in time. Of course, a long way to go, but at the minute it is neither side have the lead in that one, still goalless there. And then tomorrow, a blockbuster day, a triple header of action for you. We're at the Amex from 2, at Anfield from 4:30, and then we round off our first section of the season heading into the international break with a trip to Villa Park tomorrow night from 7. Right, I didn't do particularly well with my predictions. I had Man United win by a goal. I'll take that. I had Sunderland and Brentford to draw. I was almost there. Didn't happen. I did not see Spurs losing at home. I thought at the very worst, it would be a draw, but they lost at home. I had Everton winning away at Wolves. I got that result right. So results-wise, I'm not too bad. Not too bad. I got the scoreline and the result out of the Chelsea game, which I'm over the moon with, by the way. Because Chelsea are such a side, you never know what you're going to get from them, if you're honest. But the one result that went completely against me today was Tottenham against Bournemouth. I think every other game I've predicted similarly right. Everton win by a goal, Man United win by 1 goal. I just had Sunderland and Brentford drawing. Sunderland nick it at the very end. It was a tight game, but the one I got howler wrong was Spurs against Bournemouth. But I don't think anybody would have really predicted what came of Spurs today after their great start to the season. Right, let's quickly remind you of what's coming up tomorrow. Brighton taking on Manchester City tomorrow at 2 o'clock is our first game of 3 games tomorrow we'll have for you here on LFS, and can't wait to bring them all to you. But we do have some more, some of that news to bring you. As I reminded you, as I told you in the first half, just before the halftime, was Alejandro Garnacho is a Chelsea player. That has been confirmed by the club. He is a Chelsea player. Also some breaking news that Liverpool have bid for Crystal Palace's Mark Guehi, £35 million flat fee, according to reports, no add-ons, and the player, the 25-year-old, is open to the move. We'll see what develops if Palace will accept a bid after what Gulliver Glasner said on Friday, that he was going nowhere and they would expect him to be performing for Palace this season. We will see what comes of that. Also some interesting news that came before kick-off this evening. Remember, Liam Delap got injured in that game between Chelsea and Fulham earlier this afternoon. Enzo Maresca said after the game that it will be up to 8 weeks that Liam Delap will be out due to that injury. And according to reports tonight, Chelsea have called off Nicholas Jackson's loan move to Bayern Munich following that injury. They are calling off that move and saying that Nicholas Jackson has to stay to keep Chelsea from having no one really to go up front there, and that is a very, very interesting thing to hear this afternoon. So all the news coming into us this afternoon: Garnacho joins Chelsea, Liverpool have bid for Mark Guehi, and Nicholas Jackson's loan move to Bayern Munich is called off due to Liam Delap's injury. So it's all happening in the Premier League this afternoon. Thank you all for joining us. Great to have you all with us. Steve says, where do you think Leeds and Sunderland will finish? Honest opinion, I had, before the season, I had them both staying up. I have Leeds and Sunderland both staying up in 16th and 17th is what I predicted, and I think I would be happy with that prediction at this minute in time. Steve says Wolves, West Ham and Brighton go down. Brighton, I think that's a little bit. I think Brighton have had a poor start, but we'll see how they perform against City tomorrow. But they've struggled early in the season, that late equaliser from Fulham and then that really tough game last week. I think Brighton are a good side. They have good players. I think they will be more than fine, if I'm honest, this season. But you never know. What we can say, and what I think we can all probably agree on before the second half goes underway between Leeds and Newcastle, is that the newly promoted sides are certainly giving more of a fight in the early season and showing a lot more in the early season than we've seen over the last few campaigns. Leeds and Burnley and Sunderland have all offered themselves a real good task at the start of this season, and we'll see what comes of the second half here, but which I can tell you is on the way very shortly. Do stay with us. Your one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this, and Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions, and there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and battered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Second half from Elland Road on the way in just a second. Leeds 0, Newcastle 0. We have had all the goals of the afternoon around the grounds in the Premier League. 2 5-goal thriller games at Old Trafford and at Molineux respectively. And a lot of tight affairs. Only Chelsea are the only team to have won by more than a goal this afternoon so far. Newcastle maybe going to make a change here. It looks like Lewis Miley is ready and waiting to come onto the field. Whether it's an injury issue or just going to be a change tactically from Eddie Howe's team, we will see what comes in this next few minutes. But Lewis Miley is coming on without a doubt. And it's going to be Jacob Ramsey who's coming off. So we talked about his injury issues for Ramsey, and he's now off the field for Newcastle. I'm guessing that's an injury problem. We are just guessing at this minute in time. We'll know more after the game, but that doesn't look good for Jacob Ramsey. And it's certainly not what Newcastle need, with a few players missing as well in attacking areas already so far in this early season. And Lewis Smiley on in the place of Jacob Ramsey then for the second half. Leeds kicking from right to left, and Newcastle kicking from left to right in the second half here in Yorkshire. So now Leeds going to kick it long again from the kickoff like they did in the first half. Sorry, like what happened in the first half. And the long kick right into the corner. It's going to be a throw-in to Leeds right deep in their own half. You gotta say, seems to be a new tactic. Going as far as you can from the kickoff. Kickoff is a set piece in and of its own now, really. You used to see a lot of teams try and bomb it up the field for their attackers to try and win a throw-in up the field for them, but now it seems like they're just trying to kick it long out for the other team to defend the throw-in and try and use the press to win it back. It's a very interesting tactic there from Newcastle, and they have the ball here, so it might have worked. It'll be interesting to see what we see of them in this second half. Newcastle with that change for Lewis Smiley coming on for Jacob Ramsey. What will it do to the Newcastle side in this second period? And Smiley there sitting deeper in the midfield. Trippier down the right hand channel. In behind was Murphy, but Stroik gets it back to his keeper, and Perry can send it long for Leeds. Over the head this time of Stack, and Newcastle bring it down. One of these two sides needs to assert a bit of dominance in this second half. Leeds had control at times. Leeds had some good breakaway chances against Newcastle. They've won it back here fairly. Down the right hand side, Dan James. Now Bogle was attempting to get to it, but he just doesn't. And then they kind of stand. He stands on the defender there, Dan Burn, and they both hurt each other. Bogle and Burn. And they have a little laugh between each other. They've hurt each other there. See this again. It's a break down the right hand side for Leeds, and it's Bogle trying to jump out of the way of Dan Burn's tackle. And he kind of stands on the boot of Dan Burn, and he rolls his ankle at the same time, Jayden Bogle there. Nothing really in it. And they're up and fine and having a little laugh about it, the two players. A long kick will come here from Nick Pope. First header won by Miley. And the second header cleared away by Leeds through Rodon, held up by Mecha. One thing they've done really well in this game so far, Leeds, is that hold-up play with the centre forward, distributing it to wide players and midfielders, getting Leeds up the field with that long ball attempt. It's been a while since we've seen that in the Premier League, where there is that lone striker that can hold everything up and get the team up the field. And here he goes again, Mecha. This time he lost out, but a little bit of a scramble causes Leeds to win a free kick with Lucas Mecha. Newcastle are struggling to contend with that long ball from Lucas Perry right up the spine of the Newcastle team. It's just a little late there from Trippier. Nothing really much in it, but the referee has seen it as a foul. Just a little late from Kieran Trippier. That is a free kick to Leeds up the field. It's Gruev that's over the free kick, and he's going to go back the way with Rodon. Now Bogle. Well, I've got to say the heavens have absolutely opened here at Elland Road. It was raining in the first half, but it's got heavier into the second. Here's Dan James. Nice little 1-2 with Bogle, and the ball just a little bit heavy, skimming across the surface, and goes out for a throw into Newcastle. Gruev trying to press Guimaraes from that throw in. Dan Byrne sends it long up the field, and he can't keep it in the boundaries of the field of play. That goes out for a Leeds throw. It's going to be a foul again. Leeds breaking forward. Asula this time committed the foul. It was that Longstaff that went down. Leeds winning a couple of free kicks just to get their kind of control back into this game for the second half. And one thing that I said in the Everton game, when they did have so much control in the first half against Everton, what they didn't do was then go kick on and use that into the second half and retain that control. Here comes Nonto, squeezes it across. Here's Bogle, chops onto his left foot and has a go, but he couldn't keep the shot down. Again, he's got that threat. Jayden Bogle scored quite a few goals in the Championship last season for Leeds from that right back position. And again, in that first half, we saw him kind of chop inside from the full back position. On that occasion, he has a go from the edge of the D, and the space opened up for him. He just couldn't keep the shot down. Pressure on Scher there, back to Pope, and he's forced to knock it out for a throw into Leeds. That's good pressing from the home team, but really slow from Newcastle. Really, really slow. And even the manager, Eddie Howe, is a bit frustrated with his team's play there. He's playing themselves into trouble. Stroik finding Goodmunson, who holds onto the ball well, distributes it to Nonto. Trippier does well to come in and take the ball off Anton Stack. Get it back for Newcastle. Botman. Byrne. And James forcing him to go long. The bounce on the ball is a bit awkward, but Rodon does well. And Bogle keeps it inside the touchline. And Leeds win a throw-in. Just really smart play from Leeds. They're not being caught out by little tricks and flicks from Newcastle. They're doing the little things right and the basics right at the minute, Leeds, and they're getting the kick of the ball. And you've got to say, this minute in time, they do look a threat to Leeds United. Well, the last time Leeds won back-to-back home Premier League games was in August of 2022. And they last did so with a clean sheet in both games in February of 2021. Here come Newcastle trying to stop Leeds to have a clean sheet tonight. Here's Livramento down the left-hand side. 3 white shirts in his way. Guimaraes now cuts it back inside here for Tonali. Sprays it out wide to Trippier. First time ball blocked by Goodmunson. Back to Trippier. Now Miley. Trippier inside to Scher, who's the free man. Nice little give and go there with Guimaraes. Even when they're trying to quicken their pace, Newcastle just look a little bit loose. That's a ball in by Livramento again, dealt with by Leeds. Botman. Scher out wide to Trippier. Round the corner it goes to Miley, who's made the run. He goes for the cross. It's deep. It's too deep. Goal kick. Well, Newcastle have won their last 8 Premier League games against newly promoted teams, and netting at least 3 goals in 7 of those games. And the last time they had a longer run than that was between 94 and 96, when they won 9 games in a row against newly promoted sides. That was an awkward bounce away from Nonto that finds its way to Murphy. Jacob Murphy again trying to come inside, and he's going to have a shot at it, and he has a Good save with the left hand off Lucas Perry there to direct it wide. Again, it looked like he was going nowhere for a second, Jacob Murphy. He's going and going and going and going, and he gets past Gruyev onto his left foot. And it's kind of the way he hits it. It spins back. And then the good save from Perry with his left hand to force it wide. He tries to hit it across goal, and it just kind of spins back the way. And it causes the keeper to have to make a last second save. It will be a Newcastle corner. 9 minutes gone in the second half, and Newcastle with their first corner. Right-footed delivery. Way at the front post by Mecha again. And Dan James, trying to put the afterburners on to break down that right side, but it's too much pace on the ball again to get anywhere near him. Livramento. Newcastle United have lost 3 of their last 4 Premier League matches. Drawn the other one, that was against Aston Villa. It's more than in their previous 11 games, winning 8 in that run. And they last had a longer winless run, Newcastle, between September and October of last year, when they went 5 games without a win. It's not too uncommon for this Newcastle team, though. Trippier switching it out to the far left side. Nicely intercepted by Bogle. Dan James, the ball just gets away from him. Leeds have been a little bit too expansive and allowing Newcastle to have control of the ball. Trippier. Space here on the right. He goes for the cross. It's deflected. Oh, that was far from controlled as Perry palms it away. And that is just about recovered by Rodon. But Struijk got caught out here. We see this again. It's Trippier with the cross. And it kind of spins back. And Struijk dives to have a header at it. Perry has to palm it away. Yeah, it comes off the head of Nonto, which causes the awkwardness with Struijk. He tries to throw his head at it. The keeper has to throw a hand at it. It's far from convincing defending there from Leeds, but they do get away with it. Long ball by Perry again. Losing his mojo with those long balls there, Perry. That one went straight out of play for a Newcastle throw. This is what I was talking about with Leeds in the first half, when they had so much control and dominance and good attacking play. They didn't take advantage of it, didn't get a goal out of it, and then I sit in a situation where they need to be careful. Won it back with Nonto down the left, and that's well challenged by Trippier. And the last touch did come off Nonto. So that's going to be a Newcastle throw-in. Newcastle with the better of the last few minutes, you have to say, but as I was saying, that's what Leeds need to be wary of, the fact that Newcastle will have a spell in this game where they are the better team, when they are looking more threatening up front. And if Leeds can't take advantage of when they were in front, then they might get caught out. That's well won back though by Longstaff, doing really well against his former team. James. One moment of quality needed from either team. Bogle. Back it comes to Rodon. Now Gruyev. Stepped inside the 2 centre-backs who've gone a bit wider. Ilya Gruyev. To Struijk. Now Gudmundsson. Awkward ball, poor ball. Given away there from Leeds. And now here comes Newcastle. Miley. Nice step in by Livramento. Wanted a foul, is going to get a foul. The referee had to think about it. And Livramento was brought down by Jayden Bogle. Free kick to Newcastle United. He wasn't too sure, the referee, for the first time of asking. I'm not sure there was much contact. There was a little bit of contact. Nothing too extreme. It looks like Leeds are going to have a go with the bench here. Jack Harrison and Brendan Aronson are ready and waiting to enter the fray shortly. 2 attacking changes for Leeds, it seems. Free kick here for Newcastle in the Leeds half. The rain has stopped, which is, I'm sure, to the thanks of the players. Trippier with the ball in, and before it even enters the box, Bruno Guimaraes has a foul given against him for bundling over a Leeds player. Right, double change then coming from Leeds. So Dan James is going to come off, and he's going to be replaced by Brendan Aronson. And the second substitution is going to see Wilfred Gnonto coming off, and he's going to be replaced by Jack Harrison. So Gnonto and James off, and Aronson and Harrison on. So making changes, straight changes in the wide areas, Leeds United. That's where they had the control in the first half. That's where they were looking bright in the first half, in the wide areas. And I think Daniel Farker wants to see a bit more injection of energy from his wide attackers as this game continues. Byrne forces a ball right into the path of Bogle, who intercepts. Now Leeds on the move. Bogle trying to target a centre forward there in Mecha, and that was a good sliding challenge by Botman. Slid early, puts it behind for the Leeds corner. Yeah, you could see it all day. Bogle was not wanting to go wide. He wanted to arrow it into his centre forward, and Botman knew it was coming and made a good block and slid to put it behind for the corner. Only Leeds' second corner of the game. Mind you, they've still yet to have a shot on target, Leeds United. As we hit the hour mark inside Elland Road. Corner to Leeds, right hand side. Left footed delivery, whipped towards the back post, but Nick Pope saw it all the way and gathered it. Tonali unleashed down the right side, but tracking there from Longstaff. Gets it all the way back to his goalkeeper. And then there's going to be a foul given away here by a Newcastle player in Will Asula for a foul on a Leeds defender in Jaden Bogle. We'll see this again. It was good work from Sean Longstaff to get it back to his keeper, and then Bogle just tries to shield Asula, and Asula just trails him to the ground. It's definitely a foul. As Leeds took to the bench, Newcastle will do the same. They're going to make a double change now. Kieran Trippier is going to be replaced by Lewis Hall, and Jacob Murphy is going to be replaced here by Anthony Elanga. So Hall and Elanga on, Trippier and Murphy off for Newcastle. Both teams want some extra pace in the side and some fresh legs to try and spur them on, as we're deadlocked at 0-0 at the moment. Foul there. Pushing the back there on the Leeds player by Lewis Hall right in the game. A free kick to the home side. Well, is this game going to go the way of the game here 2 weeks ago? Or will it go the way of the game at Villa Park, which Newcastle were involved in? Both were goalless at this stage in each game. What way will it turn out? Will there be a goal, or will it finish without a goal between the two? Oh, a bit of a mix-up there from the Leeds defenders. That was good tracking by Ilya Gruyev. Got a foot in, denied Anthony Elanga a real run at the defence. Stroik plays it inside, finding Harrison. Reverses it round the corner. One for Stack to chase, but that's dealt with by Lewis Miley. Gets it back to his goalkeeper. Plays it out to Guimaraes, who slips as he tries to play the ball. And the ball's flicked over the top. Elanga on the chase for this one. Stroik in cover. Elanga does well, out muscles Pascal Stroik. Now Elanga rolling it across the box. Asula goes down. Not going to get a penalty for that. Not in a million years. Harrison inside to Longstaff. Game's energy levels have increased since the substitutions. Just what both managers wanted. Aronson. Longstaff. Stroik. Road on. Leeds are unbeaten in their last 21 home league games. 118, drawn 3. Their joint best run under Daniel Farker is this run. They last had a longer run between 2009 and 2010 when they went 25 games unbeaten at home in League One. And the last run in the top 2 tiers of English football that was longer than their current one was in May 91 and November 92 when they went 31 home games unbeaten, did Leeds, in the early 90s. I think that was en route to the title that year as well. Long ball there from Newcastle, trying to find Elanga. Again, out of play it goes. Nice play in between the lines there from Leeds. Lovely little footwork. And it's laid off here to Stack. Spins it out wide for Aronson, who had a real hot potato there to try and control. And it's allowed Newcastle a chance to clear it away. Stayed in play there. Sula was in a battle, but he lost that battle to Rodon. Now Gruyev. Finally poised here at Elland Road. Bogle plays it inside. A trip on... I think that was Aronson that was tripped there, or was it Stack, sorry, that was tripped, but no foul, said the referee. 25 minutes to go. Guimaraes trying to step away from Sean Longstaff, and that's going to be a foul and a free kick. Former teammates, of course. Miley. Hall. Flick ball around the corner for Will Asula to get to. Stroik was brought down as Asula was trying to get in behind him. Pascal Stroik was pushed to the ground there. Yeah, see it again. Nice ball in behind, and Stroik trying to hold off Asula. And Asula, who tries to get past his man, just shoves him to the ground. It's definitely a foul. Thanks, Joseph, for joining us again. Just saw your chat there. Thank you very much for staying with us. Going to be a stoppage here. There's a Newcastle player down in Sven Botman. The referee's called a halt to the game. I don't know whether he's given a foul or not. The crowd are not happy that the game has been stopped because Leeds were in possession. He's still on the ground here, Sven Botman. He's not looking in a good way. Let's see it again. It was a clash with Metcha. He jumped up to win the ball, but I didn't see what happened after that. We'll see it again. As he jumps, something kind of hurts his ankle there. Does Metcha make any contact with him? Couldn't quite see, but he's hurt his ankle anyway, Sven Botman. And he is down receiving treatment at the moment. A reminder for you that we are back in Premier League action tomorrow. Triple header. We're at the Amex from 2. Brighton taking on Manchester City. 2 o'clock tomorrow from the Amex Stadium. Newcastle are going to make some more changes. It's going to see Harvey Barnes enter the fray very shortly. And Eddie Howe trying to give some information to his players. With a quarter of the game remaining, we'll see if there's anything to come out of this. No goals yet. I wouldn't think there would be too much discourse if I said that there would be probably just the one goal to decide this game, if there is one at all. It's one of those games where it's one chance and you win. And Harvey Barnes is going to come on to try and be the man that can make that chance for Newcastle. So they've got to make a change here. And they're going to change their system because Sven Botman's coming off. So Barnes is on, Botman's off, so they'll go to a back 4 Newcastle. Livramento at left back, Trippier at right back, and Byrne and Scher, the centre backs. And then Barnes going further forward alongside maybe Osula and Elanga. It's more of a 4-3-3 it seems for Newcastle. Playing between the lines again, Leeds. Harrison. Switch ball there from Stack, finding its way out to Bogle. Bogle. Inside to Longstaff. Back to Rodon. Nice strike. Playing it around Newcastle. Good Munson. And well challenged there by Alanga, but it will be a Leeds corner. Leeds are going to make a sub of their own here in a minute. And it's going to be the end of the day for Lucas Mecha. He's done a lot of hard yards for Leeds today. He's done a very good job up front for Leeds, trying to be that focal point to get them forward. And he's going to be coming off. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin is coming on to make his home debut for Leeds in the white of this home side at Elland Road. He did play, of course, against Sheffield Wednesday in the week, but this is his first home game for Leeds in the Premier League. Delivery into the box here. Oh, dropped by Pope, but he gathered it the second time as it bounced up. Goodness. There's a lot of bodies in there. It could have went anywhere. They dealt with that one, though, Newcastle. 20 to go. Still goalless. Nice little play there between Alanga and Miley. Miley down this right side. He's got Alanga again. Plays it through to him. Alanga trying to go across. It's bubbled its way towards Guimaraes. Now Tonali. And here's a bit of space for Lewis Hall, who sent his shot well over the bar. Goal kick. Well, Newcastle are one of two sides that Leeds boss Daniel Farker has faced in the Premier League more than once without losing against. He's 1-1 and drawn 1 against Newcastle in his last two games against them, along with Bournemouth as well, who's 1-1 and drawn 1 against. And in those two games, Eddie Howe was the manager of the Bournemouth in those 2019-20 season. So it means that Daniel Farker is one of two managers who Eddie Howe has faced twice and not lost against. Or Eddie Howe is one of two managers that Daniel Farker has faced twice and not lost against, along with Steve Bruce, who was also a Newcastle manager in one time or another. Another quick look at Newcastle's new centre forward, Nick Voltemada, and I'm sure he's rubbing his hands together and thinking, I'll get into this team and we need goals, and I can be the difference maker. At the minute, Newcastle without that recognised centre forward, with no Alexander Isak, they are really struggling. And of course, William Osula does start this game, but he's still very young, Osula. So Eddie Howe said, and he's going to be a player to bring through the ranks and not be their main starter. Still only 22, the Dane. Only signed him from Sheffield United last summer for £9.6 million at Newcastle. They've brought in Voltemada, and they might still be in the market for someone else, maybe a Johan Vese or etc., to help bolster the Newcastle attack. It's going to be a foul. Barnes was bundled over there by Bogle. Guimaraes. Tonali. Oh, he telegraphed that one. Nicely intercepted by Harrison. Harrison's goal for the early ball flecked over the top to Calvert-Lewin, who took a heavy touch. It was a good idea, and the two that played at Everton last season almost combined for Leeds there. And Daniel Farker had his hands like this. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. Great ball by Harrison. Calvert-Lewin does really well, holds his run. He might just be offside actually there by half a yard, maybe not even. We saw a couple of close offside calls earlier today. Did well to stretch for it. Just the touch got away from him, unfortunately. And the keeper, Nick Pope, was the happiest man to see that one. Here's a shot from Calvert-Lewin from long range. That was always going wide, but you never know. The shot does go wide. JR says Newcastle don't have a striker. Yeah, they have Alexander Isak, but doesn't want to play for them, and he's not playing for them. Will Osula's still a young striker, so he's not really a dominant forward. He's done well today, but they haven't played with someone who's an experienced centre forward who knows the position really well. Osula's still learning, but I think Nick Voltemada, a German international, has that experience under his belt and has played some good football away at Stuttgart last season. I think he can be a difference maker, but, you know, at the minute, Newcastle are looking like they need a bit of magic to win a game. That's the problem. Callum Wilson's away to West Ham. He joined West Ham on a free this summer. He was released by Newcastle this summer. Free transfer. He didn't get a new contract, did Callum Wilson. And they've been searching for a striker all summer, but they didn't expect the Isak thing to come about across the summer, or maybe they did. Who knows? But who knows what will come in the next 48 hours with Alexander Isak. This time in 48 hours, the window will be closed. Closes at 7 o'clock on Monday. Long throw here for Newcastle. Tino Livramento to take. Into the box, headed away from Gruyev. Back to Livramento. 15 minutes to go here at Elland Road. Still goalless. A little bit short there from Lewis Hall, and again Bogle tried to intercept it, but he couldn't quite. The ball was loose in the middle. Here is Guimaraes. Went wide to Hall. Trying to turn on it there inside was Barnes. Thought he was brought down, but Bogle did well. Calvert-Lewin. Flick forward. Again, a little bit open there, Leeds. The strike steps in. And then stolen away from Stack here by Miley. And again, stepping in was Stroik. And he does well there to block Lewis Miley's run, but I think it might be a corner to Newcastle. Or is it just a throw-in? It's actually a throw-in just to Leeds. Wasn't too sure there on that occasion. It was right in the corner flag again. Would you consider Calvert-Lewin a flop at Everton? Definitely not. Definitely not a flop. A flop is really harsh. He did really well for Everton for the many years that he was there, but towards the end of his tenure, it was injuries that really sent it flying into a spiral, his Everton career. But I think he wouldn't be a flop. He did really well over his first few years at Everton. He was a nightmare for defenders, but injuries really hampered him. Towards the last 2 years or so at Everton, as I said earlier, he'll be hoping he comes to a new stadium, a new team, a new start, and maybe a new bill of health. Alanga feeds it through in behind. Guimaraes a little heavy. Couldn't quite find him. They're trying things, Newcastle. Leeds have maybe stumbled a little bit here. They're really kind of walking into a wall here at the minute, Leeds. Guimaraes brought down. No foul, says the referee, as Harrison comes away and breaks away with it. And he goes down, no foul. Again, it just seems like Leeds have run out of legs here. It's the last thing they need at this late stage. Ball in behind here. Osula battling. Stands his ground there, Joe Rodon. Has to force it out for a throw, though. He stands his ground there, the defender. Yeah, I agree with you, Andy. They haven't just sat back Leeds. And that's what I like about the newly promoted teams. They haven't just said, yeah, we're just going to sit deep. Because that's just dumb. They just sit back and put 10 men behind the ball. You will concede and you will lose games of football. That will happen. So they need to compete. They need to battle. They need to go with a different approach. And you never know. Some days it might be just your day. And with that attacking approach, you might just get the luck on your side. That's what happens. That's what football is about. You need to take the risk. If you sit back constantly for 38 games of the season, I can tell you one thing as a guarantee, and that is you will go down and be relegated. Because you can't play football like that anymore. Sit back and soak up pressure and then hope that a bit of magic comes up the other end. That's not a sustainable way of playing football. It's not sustainable at all. A reminder for you, we have a triple header tomorrow in the Premier League. Brighton, Man City from 2, Liverpool, Arsenal from 4:30, and then Aston Villa, Crystal Palace from 7. Leeds going to make another change here. It's going to be James Justin that's coming on. He signed a course from Leicester. £8.7 million. He was just signed a couple of days ago. The start of the week, James Justin was signed. Just before that game against Sheffield Wednesday at the start of the week, he was signed, and they're going to bring him on here for Gabriel Goodmanson. So a straight swap at left back for Leeds, and some fresh legs for the home side. This is going to be their final change because this is their 3rd substitution window, and this is going to be their 4th substitution, but they will have no more options because they've already used their 3 sub windows. So Noah Okafor and Joel Piroe are going to stay on the bench for Leeds in the late stages here. Ten minutes to go. Still goalless. And this was the crucial point in which Leeds ended up winning the penalty and winning the game against Everton 12 nights ago here at Elland Road. Can the crowd help them to try and get another goal at that end, to try and snatch another game in a tight affair? But even if they don't get 3 points, a point against Newcastle is not a bad outcome. When we talk about it for a newly promoted side, 4 points out of 9 is a good return. That's what I would say. An unbeaten at home would be a perfect start to the new season. Remember, there's still a fight in Newcastle to try and snatch this game in their favour after the game on Monday night was snatched from them late. They want to have a late say here at Elland Road. Guimaraes. Tonali. Livramento. Right wide it goes to Alanga. Back inside. Tonali. Miley. Sandro Tonali. Bruno Guimaraes. Right wide it goes to Livramento. Going to manoeuvre some space, Newcastle. Tonali. Guimaraes. Again, Leeds sitting a little bit off them and waiting for the right time to pounce. And Harrison's done well there. He's snuck the ball and he's going to find Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin who goes wide. He's not got many options up there with him. As he switches it back to Harrison again. Down that left-hand side. Swings it in behind. Aronson's made the run, but it's sailed over the head of the American from Jack Harrison. Again, nice idea. Just evading the centre forward, or the winger, sorry, in Brendan Aronson on that occasion. Only takes a moment. They're certainly trying to find runs in behind the Newcastle defence. Leeds, that's what they've gone for the latter stages to try and win this game. Crosses early in behind the Newcastle defence. For Newcastle, they're trying their best to try and find options and space against Leeds, but at the minute they're holding firm, the home side, out of possession. Dropped into a kind of a 4-4-2 out of possession, or even a 4-5-1 out of possession, with Calvert-Lewin the only man going forward at this rate. That's a good challenge by Gruyev. They're intense with their press, Leeds. You got to give them that. And they've won a free kick off Guimaraes there. No hurry to take it. Well, Newcastle head into the international break at this moment without a victory under their belt, as it would be. They come back after the international break. They're back at St James's Park on the 13th of September. They host Wolves, and then they host Barcelona in a Champions League game on the the 18th, Thursday the 18th of September, before they then head to Bournemouth on the 20th. That will be changed, of course, but Bournemouth the weekend after. So not an easy run after the international break, and then they host Arsenal at the end of September. So some tricky games for Newcastle after the break. It doesn't get any better for them. For Leeds United, if they hold on here, they will head into the international break with 4 points out of a possible 9 in the Premier League. They then head to Fulham and then away to Wolves. Back-to-back away games before they're back here at Elland Road on the 27th of September at home to Bournemouth. Well, that's nice work there from Brendan Aronson and Bogle to pick it back up. A little bit loose as it evaded Bogle there. Brendan Aronson's done well to keep Leeds in possession. Gruyev. Longstaff. Back the way it comes to Rodon. Gruyev again. Going longer. Played it loose, but loose ball there from Newcastle allows Aronson to hold on to it well. He lays it out wide to Bogle. Is there a chance coming here? Jayden Bogle breaking into the box. Gets it through the lines and scrambled away by Newcastle. As Asula holds on to it well, held it up well, and Guimaraes tries to ping it in behind. Leeds deal with it and spread it wide to Bogle again. Bogle with the early cross. Calvert-Lewin into the box. Battled with Scher, and Scher out-muscled him. And that's well defended by Newcastle. Yeah, nothing really in that. There's a corner. Did come off Scher last, and keeper couldn't keep it in play. Nick Pope, so there's a Leeds corner. Crowd are feeling it now. This is their 4th corner of the game, Leeds. 4 minutes of normal time to go. Still goalless here at Elland Road. Right-footed delivery, outswinger, headed away, and it's going to be a free kick to Newcastle. There was a player down in the box. Foul spotted by the referee, Peter Banks. Free kick. Well, we talked about Chelsea's Champions League fixtures coming up. Let's have a quick look at Newcastle. So, as I said, they host Barcelona on match day 1. Then on match day 2, they head away to Union Saint-Gilloise. And back... So there was a long ball there and behind for Newcastle, not coming to anything. They're back at home then on match day 3 to Benfica. Then they head away again, I believe. No, they're at home again to Athletic Club on match day 4. Then on match day 5, they're away to Olympique Marseille. Then on match day 6, they're back in the mix again, and another away game away at Bayer Leverkusen. Then on match day 7 of the Champions League in 2026, this is back into January, they host PSV Eindhoven at St James's Park before a final day, final league game in the Champions League on the road at PSG. That is not an easy game to end your league phase run of 8 fixtures. They don't have an easy battle out there at Newcastle. They have some tricky games in the Champions League, and the free kick given here for Leeds, which the Newcastle that players are not happy with. I don't know what the free kick was given for. William Asula saying that he was the one that was brought down, but in the end it's gone the way of the home team, the free kick, and Anton Stack was the one that went down, but means he got the free kick. 2 minutes of the 90 to go. Still goalless. I'll throw another stat in there in a minute for you, just before we get ready to see the end of this game. Another long ball from Harrison, but straight into the hands of Nick Pope. Well, Harvey Barnes scored 5 goals in 6 Premier League appearances against Leeds, netting 5 times in a row for Leicester between 2020 and 2022. Between the 2020 campaign and the end of the 2022-23 campaign, only Mo Salah and Bruno Fernandes has scored more often against Leeds than Harvey Barnes. 9 and 6, sorry, for Salah and Fernandes. Leeds win the ball back again, out-muscled again. The referee letting things flow again. And Bogle's breaking forward for Leeds. He's played it through for Calvert-Lewin! And a save by Pope with his right foot to deny the Leeds number 9. Daniel Farker again, can't believe it. Good inside run by Jayden Bogle. He works around Dan Burn, does Calvert-Lewin. And then from the narrow angle, he strikes it across goal with his right foot. And Nick Pope just uses his feet to get it away. Another chance gone a-begging for Leeds. Throw-in taken short on this right side for the home side then. And they will win another throw-in through Bogle. See how long will be added on at the end of the 90 here. Trying to go for the little combination down the line there, Leeds, and they spun away into space here. Lovely little drag back there. Cut back by Aronson. Bogle across the box. Chipped across. Pope gets his hands to the delivery. Christ almighty, Leeds almost finding a way through there. Really good skill by Brendan Aronson, I think it was. Does really well to get it back to Bogle. And then he rides through a couple of bodies, Bogle, to the byline. Chips it back across, but it's up into the hands of Nick Pope. 6 additional minutes at the end of the 90 here. Still goalless. Will there be a late flourish from one of these two teams? Here's Anthony Elanga. Down the right for Newcastle. And down the right he goes. And right through the byline and out the back for a goal kick. Well, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That'd be greatly appreciated. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers. We've got 29,200 odd. So not too far away. Thank you all for joining us for this one this evening. Here at Elland Road for this one. We've not delighted you with goals, but there could be some late drama to come. Marching on together, rings around Elland Road. Perry with a long ball. It's actually worked out with Newcastle possession here. Barnes down the left-hand side. Up against Bogle. Rolls it on. Ball chipped back across the box. Flicked away by Stack. Now Longstaff looking for a ball forward. He's trying to battle for a throw in there. He's actually lost out, does Longstaff. And here comes a shot from Trippier. Right down the throat of the defence there. And Calvert-Lewin battles to win it off Byrne. Here's Harrison. Going toe-to-toe these two teams in the latter stages. Harrison flicked out of the way and bundled down by Bruno Guimaraes, who isn't happy with the referee's decision to give a foul. But it is a free kick to Leeds United. 4 minutes to go. Long ball round the left channel here for Harrison, who gets the better of his man, who's sent for dead, and Harrison's into the box. He cuts it back. Blocked by Miley, puts it behind for the corner. This game is ending with a flourish indeed. Again, Livramento goes diving in, nowhere near the ball. Harrison does really well to cut back inside him. Gets to the byline, tries to cut it back into the box. And it was well blocked by Lewis Miley, sliding in to put it behind for the corner. Leeds are on the push here. They love a late goal here at Elland Road over the years. Is there one to come here in the dying embers against Newcastle? Bodies up there, lots of height in the box for both teams. Left-footed delivery, it's deep, it's round the back, it's flicked back across goal, and Pope had to watch it all the way, and he did so and gathered. Strong goalkeeping from Nick Pope. Needed to be there at the right time, and was there. Here come Newcastle now. Bruno Guimaraes chops back inside, linking it up there with Osula. Now Livramento. Osula on the turn. Dribbles past his man, lays it out wide to Anthony Elanga, who will lift it up, but lifts it behind goal kick. Sean Longstaff's just been given player of the match there by Sky Sports. I mean, I can't argue with that. Leeds have been played really well today in midfield. A number of their players could have won it today. Newcastle United, I mean, a lot of bald heads and a lot of angry bald faces there. The Newcastle away ends, I gotta say. Perry to take the long kick again. Calvert-Lewin battling to win the ball, and he actually wins a throw-in. It's reignited a bit of belief in this Leeds crowd that maybe they could snatch something. 90 seconds remain. Is there one more chance? Flick ball over the top for Calvert-Lewin was the target, but Byrne let it roll towards Pope. Yeah, I gotta say, it is a little bit tongue-in-cheek from Sky there to give the player of the match award to a player that used to play against Newcastle and now plays for Leeds. Little bit coy. Little bit. Ball over the top here for Newcastle, and another one that will run away from one of their forwards. This time Lewis Miley, the midfielder, had the ball running away from him. Ball mustn't like Newcastle. Keeps running away from them. At 30 seconds to go, still goalless. Surely this is what way it's going to end, unless there is a crazy last second opportunity coming here. We've already seen some late goals today. Bruno Fernandes and Wilson Isidore in their respective home games to win it late for their teams. Surely there's not one here, is there? The crowd clapping along to the manager and him responding. Long ball here for Leeds United. Up and away by Byrne. And then the second ball was won by Newcastle. But there is the final whistle. It is a point apiece in a game where neither side could find the back of the net. It is a bit of deja vu for Newcastle. In a sense, it's back-to-back away matches ending in goalless draws. They are yet to pick up a win this season, Newcastle. 2 draws and a defeat from their first 3 games sees them sit on 2 points heading into the international break. It's not been the start to the season they would have wanted. You gotta say, they've got bodies to come and players to come into the side. Eddie Howe and his team had to battle here today, and they almost got caught out on a few occasions. That man, Nick Voltemata, will be a welcome addition to the Newcastle side in weeks to come. For Leeds United, it is a very positive start and return to the Premier League for them. 4 points out of 9. A win, a draw and a defeat from their first 3 games. If they keep on that sort of level, they really could be in a safety battle this season and could be amongst the all of the newly promoted sides really in a fight to stay in the division this season. Final score here from Elland Road. It is finished. Leeds United 0, Newcastle United 0. Well, I got one thing right with my prediction for this game, and that was that Leeds wouldn't score. I mean, they probably looked the more likely to score, actually, over the game, and they played well. And I've been really impressed with the newly promoted teams this season. Leeds, Burnley and Sunderland have all looked really bright in the opening weeks. And they all head into the international break, those 3 teams, with at least a win under their belts. And that's what you got to take from it for those 3. For Newcastle, they haven't got a win. They're one of 3 teams that have played 3 games and not picked up a win. Fulham and Wolves are the other 2. Not good company they want to keep there, Newcastle. Right, let's have a recap of the day's action then. At lunchtime, it all started at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea winning 2-0 against Fulham in that West London derby. A few choice decisions made by the officials on that one. It was all late drama at Old Trafford. Man United took the lead multiple times, but Burnley pegged them back multiple times. But it was Bruno Fernandes' late penalty to mean it was 3-2 finish there for Man United. Sunderland back-to-back home wins for them to start the new season as a newly promoted team, and this time Brentford were the team that left Stadium of Light with nothing but the pride in their goal. Really, 2 late goals from Sunderland there. Wilson Isidore putting the cap on it to win the game for them in the 96th minute. It was nothing for Tottenham out of their game against Bournemouth. Just the 1 goal in the game, and Bournemouth scoring early for the 2nd week in a row to make it 2 wins out of their last 2 league games for Bournemouth. And it was all drama at Molineux as well, as Everton came out victors over Wolves in that 5-goal thriller. Not a goal between these two here this evening, between Leeds and Newcastle, as our first draw of the weekend sees these two come away with a point apiece. Right, a reminder quickly for you that tomorrow is all action. We're at 2 o'clock, we get underway as Brighton host Manchester City there at the Amex City. With a win and a defeat from their first 2, Brighton at this minute in time has just a singular point from their first 2 games. 1 draw, 1 defeat. They're looking for a win, and they would rather love it at home. We will see what comes of that tomorrow from 2. That is it from us tonight. It was neither side could find the net at Elland Road, but Leeds, a spirited performance for Newcastle. They couldn't find anybody up front. If only they had Alexander Isak. Bye-bye.